And you know what time it is? It's time for KP's Video News. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all. Right.
That's right, folks. It's KP's Video News. I'm coming to you with the real deal and the real deal grooves. That's right, folks. It's been a lot of things happening here lately. I mean, I can't stay top on everything. There's so much going on. I mean, I'm watching the DC Dunce, man, trying to blame all the issues and all the problems of the country, trying to blame it on Black Lives Matter. And you the president, but you're gonna try to blame everything on somebody else, man. I'm so sick of this sucker. I don't know what to do. We have really, truly got to get out and vote. And I'm going to keep on, making that statement about voting because it's truly important. And get registered. If you're not registered, get registered today. And all right, on with the show. You got Jacob Blake's father says he's been receiving threats in the aftermath of his son's shooting. And the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and the ensuing protests have led to death threats against the 29-year-old family's of Blake's father. And he said, it's saddening to me that people don't understand the type of pressure this family is under and what the rest of the family is dealing with. Jacob Blake Sr. said, adding that his other son, 20, was recently hospitalized because he suffered from depression. Blake's family planned a peaceful afternoon rally complete with a dozen community cleanup, a food drive, healing circle, and voter registration booth. That's right, a voter registration booth at the site of the police shooting. And the DC Dunce arrived in the afternoon in the city of 100,000, located on Lake Michigan between Chicago and Milwaukee. And he headed to the protest site to inspect damaged property and was greeted by a mix of supporters, Black Lives Matter signs, and he will not, I repeat, he will not meet with the Blake family. And shortly before Air Force One landed at nearby Waukegan National Airport, Blake's friends and relatives directed their criticism toward the president and his visit. He is here to sow chaos and fear. We reject these attempts to divide us, said Tanya McLean, a Blake family friend who helped organize the event. Added Blake's uncle Justin in the statement promoting the rally. We don't need more pain and division from a president set on advancing his campaign at the expense of our city, using it as for a photo op. It's been more than a week since Kenosha officer Rustin Shesky, who was white, repeatedly shot Jacob Blake, a black man, in the back, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down. Protests have erupted in Kenosha as differing accounts of what took place on August 23rd emerged. The protests are part of a larger nationwide call for justice and the deaths of black people at the hands of police. While the State Department has launched a probe in Blake's shooting, Kenosha authorities are investigating the fatal shooting of two protesters. Kyle Rittenhouse, who is from Antioch, Illinois, about 20 miles from Kenosha, was arrested in connection with the deaths as well as the shooting of another person. So-called 17-year-old lifeguard, an investigator from the Wisconsin Department of Justice Division of Criminal Investigation, the DCI, have worked more than 600 hours on the shooting of Jacob Blake as of Saturday, the agency said in a statement Tuesday. The DCI, along with FBI agents, have conducted 88 witness interviews and collected more than 100 pieces of evidence, the statement said. Additionally, the state says it has downloaded 28 videos for review. While two videos show different moments of the encounter between police and Blake, Ben Crump, an attorney for the Blake family, revealed the existence of another video he says will definitely show what happened It will clear up misconceptions and doesn't require interpretation, he said. The video is what it is, and it shows that Jacob Blake never posed a threat to those officers. He was trying to get away from them, Trump said. Another family attorney, Patrick Salvi, disputed Trump's comparison of some police shootings to golfers who choke and miss a putt. And Salvi stated the officer in this case didn't have to make a split-second decision. There were many seconds, if not a couple of minutes, during which we believe the evidence would come out that police officers were the aggressors, he said. He also said this was not a kill or be killed type situation that Trump is trying to describe. At no point in time was Jacob's momentum toward the officers. And what you see is that the officers are pulling on his shirt and then fires those 7 bullets into Jacob's back as if he was concerned if he was that concerned about Jacob having a knife, why wouldn't he back away? Jacob's uncle Justin Blake stated on his that his nephew was unarmed. With no equivocation, his father stands by that statement, his mother stands by that statement, and our legal team stands by that statement that Blake was unarmed. The Kenosha Professional Police Association alleges Blake fought with officers trying to arrest him, put one officer in a headlock, and carried a knife he refused to drop when ordered to do so. Rashawn White, who recorded video of Blake being shot, has said he didn't see Blake holding a knife or harming officers, but he saw only the part of the incident. Kenosha officials did not address specifics of the shooting during the Monday news interview, but city and state police were not in attendance. The mayor, a National Guard representative, and county officials instead focused on protests. The last 5 days have been closer to normal for Kenosha. Kenosha County Sheriff David Best said, protests have been peaceful, and we have been very, very thankful of that. A curfew for the city has been extended through Tuesday night and will be relaxed to begin at 9 p.m. Wednesday, the mayor stated. And Blake's father won't play politics. Trump has said he would not meet with the Blake family on Tuesday because they wanted to involve lawyers. I thought it would be better not to do anything where there were lawyers involved. They wanted me to speak. They wanted to have lawyers involved, and I thought it was inappropriate, so I didn't do that. But I did speak with the pastor's family, the pastor of the family, Trump said. But during a roundtable discussion with local officials in Kenosha, Trump said his administration would provide millions of dollars in funding toward law enforcement, public safety resources, and small business relief in Kenosha. When asked whether he had a message for the Blake family, Trump said, I feel terribly for anybody that goes through that. That's why we're so honored to meet the pastors. I feel terribly for anybody that goes through that. As you know, it's under investigation. The family's objective, said Trump, is to support Blake and to ensure you receive justice. And so he said, I don't know why the president wouldn't want the family to have their lawyers on the phone, the attorney stated. He seems to have lawyers with him when he talks to people. Jacob Blake Sr. isn't going to play politics, he said. This is my son's life, and the father, it is all about my son. This has nothing to do with a photo op. It has all to do with Jacob's operation. Trump's visit poorly timed, and Kenosha County executive and Kenosha mayor said, with the former saying he preferred that President pick a later date. I'm disappointed that he's coming and to our community. He has gone through a great deal, and the mayor said at this time it's just the wrong time. It's time for us to heal. And and Trump is just lying. He's just lying and lying and lying. He's talking about if it wasn't for him, the city would have burned to the ground. And it's like, man, you haven't done a damn thing to stop anything. But another lie that Trump told was that he had talked with the pastors of the family, and the family said they don't even have pastors, that family pastors. So they don't know where he got that from. So that's another lie. Man, this guy just lied all the time. He just can't stop doing it. He just can't stop. So it's like, wow. So he's just going over there to incite a bunch of madness, man, and have a bunch of crazy psychopath white people with guns out there shooting at black people. And the thing is, it hasn't, not one time has one black person with a gun shot anyone in any of these protests. Not once, not one time. But that's been white people that have been popping up at these protests with guns. Every last time it's been with somebody white with the guns. And it's just crazy, man. It's a crazy situation. And, it's a real crazy situation. And this story here, wow, this is a teenage girl says she suffered serious burns and lasting injuries when the Phoenix police officers pinned her to a scalding hot asphalt during the heat wave. And the latest brutality claim against the department that was faced growing backlash over its use of force. And this actually happened last year in August 20th, 2019. Phoenix police were responding to a cause of a fight between a group of high school students when Ronia Trotter, 17, said the police grabbed her and held her face down on the sidewalk while trying to arrest her, placing his knee on her back. By the time the officers allowed to get her off the ground, she had suffered second-degree burns to her shoulder, arm, and medical records show. And it was a record-breaking 113-degree day that day, and she says her face was burning. She said it left her with permanent scars. When they did eventually get off her, the pavement had burned her skin off. Trotter, then a junior in high school, was jailed and charged with assaulting an officer. The teenager who filed a formal lawsuit against the department on Monday is speaking out and sharing photos of her injuries at the time when police across the U.S. are once again under scrutiny in the ways they assault and abuse and kill black Americans. In Phoenix, a 28-year-old man died in police custody last month after police held him down on the hot asphalt for several minutes. In July, footage was obtained of an officer in the city slamming a 23-year-old woman to the ground within seconds of a traffic stop. And in August, 2 women shared accounts of sexual abuse by police. An officer in another case is facing sexual assault charges. I talked about that last week. And this guy has a cop that has several sexual assault charges against him. And so the young girl said, Breonna Taylor lost her life. Thank God that wasn't me, but I'm still hurting. And said Trotter, and the cops have to be held accountable for what they did to me. And the skin, if you see the skin, her skin was just like stuck to the asphalt. Asphalt, when it gets that hot, it starts to melt. And I've experienced that in the heat, where the asphalt is so hot when you walk, it feels like your feet are sinking down in it. So I rested on hot asphalt, and she was going to pass out. And the brutal summer heat waves have created an annual worsening public health crisis, which is considered Phoenix, which is considered America's hottest city. The problem is so bad that homeless people living outside sometimes burn their feet, and the city has made it illegal to walk dogs on hiking trails when the temperatures are over 100 degrees, and encourage owners to put shoes on dogs. So on the day of Trotter's arrest, the National Weather Service warned that excessive heat was creating rare, dangerous, and deadly conditions, but the officers did not appear to have considered these hazards when they approached the girl. Trotter, a dancer who hopes to become a nurse, said she was riding the bus home from school when she got caught in an argument with a classmate, which escalated into shouts. The driver ordered a group of students off the bus and called dispatch. Once she got off the bus, Trotter said she and another girl got into a physical fight. The altercation was relatively short and ended without any serious injuries. The police arrived. There were several officers on the scene, and one of them handcuffed the girl who was shouting, Trotter recalled. Then the officer grabbed Trotter. He took her down to the ground, and Trotter, who was wearing a sleeveless top, immediately felt the burning pavement on her skin and never felt anything so hot, she recalled. She begged the officer to get her off the ground before she started to feel faint. She says, I felt like no one could hear me, like I was really going to pass out. Trotter remembered she cried for her mother who was not at the scene. It was just like, Mom, saying my mom's name. After the officers got off the ground, she became aware of her injuries. I was like, my skin's gone. My skin was literally hanging off of my forearm. The police called medics to the scene, who she said bandaged her with some type of gauze. She was not, however, seen by a doctor or given burn treatment, despite the fact that the sidewalk had burned through a layer of skin, leaving her arm with the bright pink exposed flesh. She didn't get medical help or anything. Instead, the police took her to the precinct, booking her for resisting arrest and assault against multiple officers on the scene. Her mother later took her to the emergency room when she was diagnosed with second-degree burns. In the police reports, officers described Trotter as erratic and violent, saying that they had to take her down to the ground due to her behavior and that she was kicking at them. You got grown men cops, man. Can't handle a teenage girl. Come on now. These cowards. And police said Trotter admitted to physically fighting another girl, and so the reports did not document any injuries to the officers, and there were no allegations that the other girl suffered serious injuries. In a 22-page incident report, there's only a single mention of Trotter's injuries, and it appeared Trotter sustained a scrape to her left shoulder as well as her right arm. And Phoenix police spokeswoman stated in a statement that Trotter was aggressive and refused to listen to the officer, and Fortune said she was taken down to the sidewalk. Within 33 seconds, was handcuffed. Fortune said the fire personnel treated Trotter, and officers were advised Trotter did not need to be hospitalized. The police completed a use of force report and found there were no policy violations. And they got a pattern of sheer cruelty and arrests. And Trotter is not the first Phoenix resident to be arrested in a questionable manner during the heat wave. And last month, Phoenix police released body camera footage showing the arrest of Raymond Lopez, 28, who died in custody after he was held on asphalt for several minutes in 100-degree heat. And police have not disclosed the cause of death. And 911 caller said Lopez was acting kind of funny. So it's 100 degrees outside. What do you expect? So this is Phoenix, Arizona. So, you know, Phoenix, Arizona. Wow. I'm telling you now, man. So, you know, these guys are going off. They're going off. A lot of these cops, man, are just, you know, getting to that point, man. So they had another person that got shot. I'm just gonna do a slight thing here. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna do something else, and then I'll come back to that. Okay, folks, you know what time it is. I hope you know what time it is. You've been watching for the last 18 minutes, so I hope you know what time it is. It's time for this.
KP's Video News, y'all. It's time for what? KP's Video News, y'all.
Peace.